This video is brought to you by Private Internet Access. Stay tuned to find out more.
The shit was lackluster at best. At best. And it's like, you know, after we heard him on Cali, what, like 2 years ago now, Nas' album done, and we heard that sample, and we like, oh, Nas is ready. Nas is ready. And then this.
I don't think he wanted to do it.
You don't think Nas wanted to do it?
I think Kanye hit him up and he was like, all right.
Nas has an album. This ain't it though.
Yeah.
Nas' album is done, but this ain't the album.
Longevity is one of the scarcest things in hip-hop. For every rapper that's clung on to their place in hip-hop, there have been trusted advisors, producers, and other forces who have helped to keep them there. Whether it's Young Guru's impeccable mixing keeping Jay-Z on course, or the OVO camp serving as a hit factory for Drake, everyone needs people that they can rely on to bring the best out of them, and compensate in those moments when their own inspiration is running dry. But while Nas has retained his spot and, if anything, solidified it in recent years, there's an argument to be made that Kanye West nearly torpedoed his glorious new era before it ever got off the ground. In fact, going one further, it could even be argued that Nas had to claw his way back into relevancy after entrusting a crucial moment in his career to such a divisive and easily preoccupied creative mastermind. In 2018, the news that Ye would be overseeing a new project from Nas was enough to send hip-hop purists into a frenzy. The idea of such a visionary producer teaming up with one of hip-hop's most profound and skillful lyricists was nothing short of fascinating, particularly those who'd felt that the one long-standing obstacle in Nas's career has been his tendency to rap over trash beats. Soon, media outlets were breaking down and hypothesizing over what sort of classic could await us in early June when it was set to drop. Instead, what we got wasn't just underwhelming, but considering that it was Nas's first project in 6 years, it placed his entire future as a legend in jeopardy. But before we get to how Ye endangered Nas's career, it's important to establish why Nas was willing to place his faith in Ye's hands to begin with. Over the years, Kanye has cited Nas as his favorite rapper of all time, and was so indebted to Nas that once he became famous, Ye was willing to almost betray Hov, Nas's #1 rival at the time, by featuring Nas on We Major.
The thing is, when something is so good, you can't deny it. Let's say if Jay is this stone statue or whatever that represents rap music and business mogul and all that. When you hear Nas, original form Nas, that could sometimes like warm somebody's heart. Good music can break through anything and maybe start to break down the wall.
Within that same time frame, Nas repaid the favor by featuring Ye on Still Dreaming from the album Hip Hop Is Dead. And when asked if there was anyone who could reverse the grim forecast he had laid out for hip-hop, Nas didn't mince his words. I think Kanye West saved rap, he told Complex in 2008. From then on, they go their separate ways, but hold a mutual admiration from afar. Later, they appeared on French Montana's single Figure It Out, and with both men seemingly floating over the track, it was clear that there was chemistry. And for Ye, the concept of producing a project for his hero was nothing short of speaking things into existence. Besides, he'd already tweeted, "I promise Obama I'ma do beats on Nas's next album" in 2016. Sure enough, Ye would persevere in bringing that dream into reality. In April of 2018, Kanye unveiled the Good Summer release schedule. Set to be comprised of 7 songs apiece, Ye revealed that alongside projects from good music artists such as Pusha T, Teyana Taylor, and a record of his own, he'd also be overseeing a collab album between himself and Kid Cudi known as Kids See Ghosts, and, perhaps the most exciting of all, a brand new project from Nas. While this philosophy was sound, the first alarm bells should have rang when Kanye revealed that due to the nature of their creation at his home in Wyoming, the recording process wasn't going to be straightforward. We're trying new ideas without the fear of not being perfect. It's just a gut feeling sometimes, just making stuff with your friends. For some artists, the concept of creating new sounds and seeing what emerges might have been appealing, but this wasn't the scenario that Nas found himself in. 6 years on from his previous record, Life Is Good, and flanked by allegations of abuse by his ex-wife Khalees, Nasir really had to be a certified home run that brought the best out of Nas. Alright, so I want to talk to you about private internet access. For those who aren't familiar with a VPN, or virtual private network, these handy tools work by disguising your IP address, using a server in a different country, thus hiding your true location. It's like sending a text from someone else's phone, but the person receiving the text won't know who it's really coming from. VPNs let you change your IP address to one of 84 countries in all 50 US states, meaning all I have to do is change my location to the UK and I can finally settle down to get my Power and Rick and Morty fix on Netflix UK without needing to subscribe to Hulu or Starz. By the way, this trick works with all major streaming services. And that's not all private internet access provides. They encrypt your data too, keeping your information private and you safe. Better yet, you can use private internet access on any platform to protect up to 10 devices, all at the same time, so you can keep your entire family protected. A bodyguard and a best friend rolled into one, private internet access is the only way to maximize the internet. So for 83% off, as well as 4 months completely free, just visit www.piavpn.com/hiphopmadness or click the link in the description. It's risk-free due to their 30-day money-back guarantee, and they have 24/7 customer service. So what are you waiting for? Feeling like more of a demo than an artistic masterpiece, its release was plagued by delays, and when it did finally release, the overwhelming response was that it sucked, and ultimately sold both of these legends short. But more crucially, Nas.
Unfortunately, this thing is not flames from start to finish. After Cop Shot the Kid, I wouldn't say the album takes a nosedive, but it kind of goes from hot to lukewarm and then just continues at that pace. But I think a lot of the time the production is kind of carrying Nas and making the record interesting. Ultimately, this album falls very short in that I'm not really hearing the artist in a new light. In actuality, Nasir is just kind of so-so. It's just mediocrity.
With Pitchfork saying that Nas sounded lost on the project, the expedited pace of the project's recording led many to theorize that maybe he didn't get the time to fine-tune the album, and in turn, caused them to deliver a half-finished final record in order to adhere to Ye's awkward release schedule.
I just don't like hearing Nas on those type of beats. It's not great to listen to. Not saying Nas has lost it lyrically and he can't rap. It doesn't have any replay value.
Those few seconds of BPM change did a lot to his flow, and it was nasty. Not because Nas or his flow is nasty. It sounded like he heard them beats the day before. It sounded like he didn't even rap them beats. When you're dealing with somebody like Kanye, I wouldn't be shocked if some of them beats just weren't there. I wouldn't be surprised if Kanye nudged the verse,
oh, I'm sure,
slow the beat down.
Definitely. It sounds just like that, and that's what the finished product was, and Nas heard it in Queensbridge.
It looked like Nas was in Queensbridge looking to hear it. It looked like he was searching for Kanye. I ain't see too many pictures of them two together.
Seen as producing material that, at this stage in his career, led many to wonder if his window to be relevant had officially elapsed, the jury was out on what exactly happened. But among all the commentators, it was clear that something didn't click, and in all likelihood, that's because the project lacked the organic feel and devotion of energy that could have made a Ye-produced Nas record great.
With Daytona, it was a marriage between Pusha T and Kanye beats.
When you listen to Daytona, you can hear and feel the energy between Kanye and Pusha.
Yeah.
It was magic in the studio. You didn't get that with this. It's kind of like, okay, here you go, and just give it back to me when you're done. It feels like they weren't in the studio together.
It wasn't a match made in heaven at all. Very average work by Kanye, and I don't know what sound that he thought he heard for Nas.
This
wasn't it.
Although he initially kept quiet, Nas eventually discussed why the album never reached the heights that we'd imagined.
I don't know what went wrong. I would say I did want to work more with him. We spent some time there, but I was working on ideas. He would give me like a few loops and I would write to them, but they wasn't finished. He was working on a lot. He had Cudi, Tiana Taylor. He had his album. I was the only one coming in starting fresh. So I got the less time with him. We really did that album that week that it was supposed to come out.
Not surprisingly, Ye's perspective about the album was drastically different to everyone else's.
When I had an opportunity to do Nas's album, this person made Illmatic. People was bugged out because they was like, you didn't gave him a better album than you gave yourself. He was one of my father figures. He was my brother. He was my stylist from a distance. Yeah. So when I had an opportunity to make music for him, I'm gonna give it everything.
Chalked up as a missed opportunity for many, the album's lack of staying power was the polar opposite of what Nas needed at the time, and it'd take him a few years to regain that momentum. However, just as the culture began to forget that Nasir ever existed, an insider from Nas's camp recently headed to Twitter Spaces to expose what really happened behind the scenes. For starters, the insider claimed that Push's record was always the priority, and that the record had no post-production, hence the offbeat vocals. On top of that, Nas was left enraged after being coerced into recording tracks in a makeshift recording booth in a car en route to the listening party. Eventually, he felt compelled to say something and said to Ye that, "You got me in a bad place." Reportedly, Ye dismissively replied, "You're Nas, you shouldn't be nervous." Although it seemed that it had been rushed, the source confirmed that Ye only started sending him beats 4 days prior to its completion, with the bulk of the work taking place days before its release. To make things worse, the insider revealed that it affected Nas's follow-up too. Under its original guise, Nasir was supposed to be his final project on Def Jam, but after the record turned out to be such a debacle, Def Jam demanded another project. As a result, Nas would continue his shaky run of bad albums by unveiling the Lost Tapes 2. Arguably the most lackluster moment in his catalog, this compilation is the worst reviewed release in his entire discography. And according to the same source, it was compiled of literal scraps, loosies, and outtakes just to free himself from Def Jam to sign to his own Mass Appeal imprint. Left at a low point, Nas's career wasn't in a great place following Nasir and the Lost Tapes 2. Suddenly, his place in the game was being looked at with sideways glances, with some fans wondering if he should just retire to prevent diluting his incredible legacy. However, it wouldn't be long until Nas would experience an incredible new act in his career, and where Kanye had neither time nor the vision to galvanize Nas, a former friend turned foe of Kanye's would be the man to help resurrect his career. Although he'd been hung out to dry, Nas's legend status meant that he still had a fan base. As such, when he teamed up with producer Hit Boy for 2020's King's Disease, he knew he had to make it count. As we know now, the King's Disease trilogy and the standalone release of Magic have been some of the most well-crafted projects by any artist in recent memory, and has basically resuscitated Nas's career. And while Nas's ability on the mic was never in doubt, the difference is that after his self-confidence had taken a knock from the Kanye fiasco and other misfires, Hit Boy actively nurtured him in a way that Ye never could, by creating a boundaryless space for him to rediscover what makes him great.
Hit changed that. He was more, say that. I say, what do you think about this? Oh, that's fire, say that. It kind of like pushed me in the confidence side. It was like, there is no mistakes. I'm overcritical. And I didn't have to do that. It wrote itself. It just came out. A lot of it was Hit pushing me.
Suddenly given the environment to flourish, Nas soon nettled his first Grammy. At the same time, Hit Boy has reminded the world of the depths of his own talent, playing Quincy Jones to Nas's Michael. And where Ye was vilified for treating a legend so carelessly, Hit Boy has received nothing but praise for the care, attention, and focus that he's given to Nas.
I just want to thank you because obviously Nas has a lot to do with it, but just in terms of kind of, I don't know what it is about your relationship with Nas, but it has inspired him to release a high quantity of music over the last couple of years. Yeah. The fact we got Magic just as like a bonus last year was incredible.
And that's what's motivational for me, and I would say him as well, is the fact that every time we drop a project, people are like, nah, this one better than the last one. So my thing is like, let's just keep leveling it up. He just motivated to make the music, and it's just strictly about that.
In Hit Boy, Nas has found the yin to his creative yang, with the Cali producer energizing him in much the same way as producers such as Large Professor, DJ Premier, or Q-Tip did on Illmatic. Now riding high at the top of the game once more, Nas has all the world's eyes on him. And as much as it seemed like it was a match made in heaven, it's safe to say that it's no thanks to Ye's shoddy contribution to his catalog. In fact, where it once seemed like it was Ye that helped Nas find his way, it seems like it'd be more likely to be the other way around at this particular point in hip-hop history.